Hello, and welcome to On the Turf, hosted by three guys who have never been on the turf. My name is Arjun.
And I'm Rohan Patel.
And for the first time, I think in like a month, all three of us are back together on the podcast. This just feels right for all three of us to be here. And I understand throughout the holidays we're going to be traveling and stuff, so not sure if all three of us are going to be here throughout the season, but hopefully once we get back in the playoffs, we'll be here. But either way, we've had some changes. Shri has finished up his first semester of college. Shri, how was it overall? Congratulations.
Pretty good. Thank you. It was pretty great. I love being home. Miss the food, but it's all good.
Okay. That's great to hear. And it seems like Rohan is, despite not being a fraternity brother, has embraced looking like one. Care to explain this new change with the backwards hat?
I just wear a hat.
You know, Colin Coward would say...
Colin Coward would say I look like an idiot right now.
Yeah, he would say you're not good at the...
Maybe I should change. I need to flip it
Very
to...
unprofessional.
Yeah, well, this is the Jalen Hurts look we're going for.
Yeah, this is a buttoned-up, professional,
this is a presidential
kind of quarterback.
This is a franchise quarterback. This is... Hey, guys.
Yeah.
You getting some beers tonight?
Yeah, exactly.
That's my Colin Coward impression of Brock Purdy.
I mean, Brock Purdy, despite having the backwards hat, has been playing MVP football.
I disagree, recently. But we'll talk about that later.
But let's get into it. We have a lot of interesting headlines going throughout the season. You know, Tommy DeVito, Brock Purdy, the Mr. Irrelevant coming to life, Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift. There's been a lot of headlines this year. So we're going to go back, play an old game, buy, sell, or hold. But I'm going to give you guys some headlines from the end of the season. Tell me, this could be on the front page of ESPN, whatever sports site you guys like. And you guys tell me if you're buying, selling, or holding these headlines. So let's start off with a fun one. This team lost to the Buffalo Bills at home last week. Certainly a lot of turbulence surrounding how they acted following that game, the Kansas City Chiefs. But here's the headline. A swift exit. Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs failed to reach the AFC Championship for the first time and are one and done in the playoffs. Are you guys buying, selling, or holding on this prediction?
I'll let Rohan go first.
Okay. I mean, here's my thing. I think in theory, I see where you're coming from. I think that this is the weakest Chiefs team we've seen in a long time. Mm-hmm. I think it's a shame, really, because I think their defense is very legit. But Patrick Mahomes can't do everything himself. He needs an outside threat. And quite simply, Kadarius Toney, Marquez Valdes-Scantling, they're not that. And Travis Kelce's only getting older. Rashee Rice is good, but I think he needs maybe give him a year or two, and he can be great. But right now, I think Mahomes needed something else this year. That being said, I'm still going to sell this take. I think that while the Chiefs are not who they once were, they're not going to make the conference championship game. I do think that first round, if they're in the 3 seed, they get a good draw. I think they get someone like they could get the Browns. They could get maybe the Steelers, depending how things end out the year. They could get a divisional rival in the Broncos. Essentially, I think outside of the top 4 and maybe other sneaky teams like the Bills or something, the AFC isn't that tough. I think give a wild card team, put them in Arrowhead for a divisional matchup, and I think the Chiefs aren't going to lose that game. I don't think that's possible for Mahomes and the Chiefs and Andy Reid to lose in the first round against a wildcard team, especially with how weak these AFC wildcard teams are looking. So I'll give it a sell. I think that Chiefs win first round, but I would not be surprised if they lose right after that in the next round.
I have a very interesting take, but it's contingent on a lot of things happening. So I'm gonna predict. I'll sell if the Chiefs win the division. If the Chiefs win the division, and actually I forgot the question, but basically I'm thinking that if the Chiefs win the division, then they're going to lose the first round. I think they're going to get upset by whichever the wild card team is. If they're on the road as a wild card, I'm thinking they go all the way to the AFC Championship.
Interesting. I like that take, actually. So I do like that take.
So you think backs against the wall, they're going to do better than if they just have the advantage?
Because we know clutch Patrick Mahomes. We know clutch Andy Reid. I think when they have everything to play for, that's my take. I think that if they're coming in as a wild card, they're going to go upset, let's say, the Dolphins. I don't know how the seeding works out, but I already know playoff Mahomes is just a different breed. We've seen this before. And, yeah, I think that if the Broncos take the division and the Chiefs end up at the wild card, I'll take the Chiefs to the AFC Championship.
Here's the thing. I see where you're coming from. I think, first off, the Chiefs, they're on a two-game losing skid right now.
They're going to face four backup quarterbacks.
Yeah, their next 4 games are against the Patriots, the Raiders, the Bengals, and the Chargers. I think the scariest game out of that, if you can even call it, is the Bengals with the way Browning looks right now. I'm waiting for his insanity run to also finish up, unfortunately. But it happens with every backup quarterback. But I think, the Chiefs can win all 4 of these games. I think these teams are much more inferior to the Chiefs than, say, the Bills were. And I think with all that momentum and the division lead, I fail to see how they lose a game in the first round. Because for the Broncos to win, it requires the Chiefs dropping one of these games and the Broncos running the table. We'll talk about the Broncos later, I'm sure, but I think I see the vision with the Chiefs in the wild card, but I really don't think that's going to happen with the way these schedules look.
Yeah, I think I'm going to, since Shree went by, I'm not really sure what Shree said, but in terms of his
buy/sell, depending on what happens.
But I'm gonna say hold on this one because I think
that's such a cop out. Buy or sell.
If I'm being real, I think if you're asking me to choose between those two, I'll say buy.
Really?
I think Shree, I agree with you. Patrick Mahomes in the playoffs, but for the first time this year, I felt that when Patrick Mahomes has the ball at the end of the game, which he has had in the past 2 games, I'm not entirely confident he's going to get it done.
He nearly got it done against the Bills, but penalties really killed them.
But still, what I'm saying is
valid penalty.
Valid
penalty.
But
don't
that's
get
what
me
I'm
wrong.
saying.
But that's all that was going to happen.
I don't think this team is buttoned up and disciplined enough, and has everything down that they're going to be able to consistently do this. And this defense is good, but it's not, as good as we thought it was, and it's not going to consistently win them games against top flight quarterbacks like Josh Allen. And they got torn up by Jordan Love the week before. So this is a good team, but if you're asking me buy or sell, I'll say buy, and I think they're one and done. Next one, this is a fun one. Here's the headline. Mr. Irrelevant no more. Brock Purdy becomes the 2nd player in a row to win the NFL's MVP award and Super Bowl MVP in the same year. I'll go quickly. I'm buying this. I think he's going to win MVP. I think his stats tell you he's MVP. I think his play, frankly, shows you he's the MVP. Yes, I know he's playing with great personnel. Yes, he's playing with probably the best play caller in the NFL. But Brock Purdy is playing at an extremely high level. He's elevated this offense to something we didn't see with Jimmy Garoppolo at all. I think Dak Prescott is currently favored, but it's very close between them. And I think this team, frankly, barring injury, this team is going to go to the Super Bowl and probably going to win the Super Bowl. I think the Niners are in their own tier right now, and that's why I think Mr. Irrelevant no more. He's going to win MVP and Super Bowl MVP this year.
Okay, if you're asking me like what in our reality could happen, sure, I'll buy this. I do think that the Niners are on the table. I think that they can secure the 1 seed, and I think that, again, like you said, I think the Niners are the best team in the league by far and away right now, and I think barring injury, again, they can make the Super Bowl and win it. And if they win the Super Bowl, well, Super Bowl MVP could be a bit of a stretch. We'll see, but sure, I'll buy this in reality. But in my morally correct world, sell this. This just doesn't make any sense to me. I think if don't get me wrong, Niners are Super Bowl favorites right now. If I had to put money on it, I'm putting it on them. But Brock Purdy is not MVP. Brock Purdy is not the MVP of the NFL this year. Quite frankly, first of all, we're operating under the stupid assumption, and it's not our fault that MVP is a quarterback award, which it shouldn't be. Realistically, the MVP this year, far and away, I think it shouldn't be a discussion, is Tyreek Hill. You saw it last week, and when he gets hurt, when he's not 100%, this team falls apart. Tua's a solid quarterback, but Tua is 10 times better with Tyreek Hill. He makes this offense run. He is the most important player in that offense. And quite frankly, having him is what makes the Dolphins great, and it's what's made them great this entire year. He's on pace for 2,000 yards. We haven't seen a receiving season like this since Calvin Johnson, and he's leading his team to probably win the division. And I don't know about the 1 seed anymore after that loss last week, but be a top contender in the AFC. On the other hand, it's hard to rag on someone for having great personnel and a great team, but you can't tell me that Brock Purdy hasn't benefited greatly from it. I mean, Brock Purdy has benefited from the best running back in the league, the best offensive lineman in the league, an elite wide receiving core, and an elite tight end. At every position, he has a star player. When I play against him in Madden, I just see a bunch of X Factors and superstars. I mean, it's ridiculous. It's really ridiculous. And granted, he's made this team better than what it was before Jimmy Garoppolo. I think he's a very good quarterback. I think he's a top 10, bordering maybe even top 5 quarterback at this point. But when you look at MVP, the most valuable player, I mean, when other people got hurt, when Debo got hurt, when McCaffrey got hurt, when Trent Williams got hurt, the Niners sort of fell into a little bit of a rut. They lost 3 straight games, and Brock Purdy couldn't save them from that. And I think that kind of depicts what really makes this Niners offense run, and that's the Niners in totality. That's the offense in totality, and Brock Purdy just masterfully pulling the strings. So for that reason, Brock Purdy should not be MVP in my books. If you want to give to someone else, I mean, Dak Prescott, Lamar Jackson, even Josh Allen, I'd argue, pose better MVP arguments for the way that they have to lead and carry their team. On the other hand, I think Brock Purdy benefits a lot from his team, and when he has to do it alone, he hasn't been able to do it. So therefore, no to Brock Purdy MVP. Sorry, I really get upset with this take because he just shouldn't be this high in the rankings for me. Great quarterback, not MVP. Give it to Tyreek Hill, or even Christian McCaffrey.
Sure.
This is my thing. I just think that, my reservations aside, I just don't think the NFL is going to give it to Tyreek Hill. Like, if they were to give it, they should have given it to Cooper Kupp. But I think
agreed.
If Cooper Kupp didn't get it, then I just don't see a possibility for Tyreek to get it. Just because Cooper Kupp literally broke it. I think he got the triple crown that year.
He did. Yeah.
Most touchdowns, most receptions, most yards. For me, I'm going to buy this take. I think Brock Purdy is going to win the MVP. And, my thing is, he has, the weapons around him. But, I mean, every quarterback is elevated with the weapons around him. But, I don't think we're knocking on, every other quarterback just because they have weapons around them, too. Brock Purdy just happens to have a lot more weapons around him. At the same time, I think the last time they played the Eagles in, the playoffs, when he was out, they got destroyed by the Eagles. But the next time around when Brock Purdy was there, they made that game competitive. What changed?
It was a completely different Eagles offense or defense.
Yeah.
The Eagles' defense has taken many steps
Still,
back.
I just think, look, I mean, not to interrupt you, Shree, but I'm just asking you, when we saw this Niners team with Jimmy Garoppolo, this is a completely different team with Purdy.
No, he's significantly better, but you can't tell me that he's the best player in the NFL right now.
I think.
Listen,
Shree,
when I think of it, it's not what I think; it's what the NFL thinks. And obviously, I think we all think that the NFL thinks that Brock Purdy has elevated this team. There are facts that need to be stated. He's elevated this team. The team has a good record. He has probably one of the best quarterback numbers in the league right now. Probably one of the best touchdown to interception ratios in the league right now. I'm just yapping at this point. But the point is,
no, you're right. Yeah.
He's good.
Yeah, I mean,
he has a good record. The team looks like they're going to win the Super Bowl. And it's a quarterback favoring award. So I don't see anyone other than Brock Purdy getting this award. Whether he deserves it or not, I don't care. But if Tyreek is going to get the award this year, Cooper Kupp should have gotten it when he did his thing a couple years ago.
I just think if there's any year to, I mean, who won the Cooper Kupp year?
Was that was Aaron Rodgers.
Aaron Rodgers.
No.
Yeah,
that was Aaron Rodgers. Yeah,
it was Aaron Rodgers.
And was that also when Tom Brady was really?
Tom Brady was a very It was between Brady and Rodgers that year.
And that year, Tom Brady had significantly better stats than Aaron Rodgers, and they didn't give it to him.
Well, Aaron Rodgers had a pristine touchdown to interception rate.
I think Brady threw for less
Brady
picks.
had 500 or more.
No,
passes.
Brady had more yards,
more yards, more touchdowns, less
picks, or less picks,
or more picks. Yeah.
But Rodgers had the number 1 seat that year.
Yeah, and I just think again Brady should have gotten it that year. Even Cooper Kupp should have gotten it that year. I think we put too much stock into these stats that are that a quarterback, when they get it, it is very team dependent. And like you said, we shouldn't fault a quarterback for losing their weapons, but maybe you should also think about maybe the weapons are the important piece in the equation here. Give me Tyreek.
All right, let's move to the next one. Keeping on NFC quarterbacks, but a different one, trending in the wrong direction right now. The headline is, the goofball returns. Jared Goff continues his current level of play, and the Lions lose at home in their first playoff game in a long time in the playoffs. I'll go very quickly on this. Okay. It saddens me to say this, but I'm going to buy this.
Yeah,
I think the Lions are trending.
I'm so excited.
I think they're trending in the wrong direction. I love this Lions team so much. I was really hoping for them this year. I think their offense can get a little too cute sometimes. They need to run the ball more with David Montgomery, with Jahmyr Gibbs. Get Jahmyr Gibbs more opportunities They need to be safer. Goff has not been good under pressure at all. He's been one of the worst quarterbacks in the league, actually, when pressured. So when that offensive line isn't doing top 5 in the league, protection, he's not as good. And this defense simply doesn't have the talent right now. I think they can be good next year, possibly, but I don't think this is their year, and I think the goofball is, in fact, back.
I wouldn't go that.
With the current trajectory right now. Oh, sorry.
No, you go.
Now, I'm so excited to buy on this take because right now it looks like the Vikings are the 6th seed and the Lions are the 3rd seed.
Vikings are not winning the division tree.
Vikings control their destiny for this division.
The Vikings are not making the playoffs, bro. The Vikings are not.
Let me tell you, this defense is elite from the Vikings, and the point is that's going to work against this goofball, who's whatever the Detroit Lions are. So I'm so excited to buy this take. They looked horrible against the Packers. I personally have Jared Goff in fantasy, and it is so frustrating, let me tell you. I have no idea how I made the fantasy playoffs with him, but yeah, I'm gonna buy on this take. Screw the Lions. Let's go.
Yeah, nice 3 points he put up last week.
Yeah, nice 3 points, buddy.
That's cute.
Yeah, we'll take.
You did get 4 sacks,
Brian Flores
and you got 3 sacks the week before that. So I don't know. Maybe Brian Flores is doing something right. I don't really care about the Vikings. To be fair, the Vikings and Lions play each other twice in the last 4 weeks, so. Anything is possible right now, and the Vikings are only 2 games back at this point?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
2 games back. Realistically, I think the Lions still close out. They win the division. I don't think all of this is Jared Goff's fault. I think that he had a bad game against the Bears, and he had a bad game against the Bears. He has 2 bad games against the Bears, really. Maybe they're just his kryptonite. He didn't play really that awful against the Packers. I blame it more on the defense, and he played well against the Saints. I think Goff is fine. I don't think this is the same offense we saw earlier in the year. I think they need to go back to I don't think Jahmyr Gibbs is the answer here. I think Dave Montgomery is still the answer.
That's true.
I think when Montgomery was the workhorse and Gibbs was a change of pace back, this team looked really, really, really good for the first few weeks, and I think you got to shift back to this run-first mentality and let Goff work off of that. That being said, I'm not going to fault Goff. I'll buy this take. I'm not going to fault Goff, though. I think the defense is going to be the issue. I think Lions end up in probably the 3 seed. You draw a 6 seed who's looking like it could be anyone from the Rams to the Seahawks, to the Packers, to the Vikings. And if they get any of those teams with the way those offenses are looking, especially with the way those passing offenses are looking, I think that they can take the Lions.
I'd love to see a Lions-Rams first playoff game. Stafford coming back to Detroit.
That'd be a lot.
So that'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
But I really hope that happens because I think the Rams could get into the 6th seed very easily too. I love this Rams team. We're not going to talk about them today, but really like where they're headed. Next one. This is a little bit of a fun one. New York to the playoffs. Tommy DeVito and Zach Wilson get their teams into winning records after both winning Offensive Player of the Week in Week 14. Look, the Giants, don't look now, but the Giants are on a 3-game winning streak.
Really?
They are on a 3-game winning streak. And the Jets, Zach Wilson just had the best game of his career against a pretty good defense against the Texans. The Jets are facing quite a vulnerable Dolphins team this weekend. And who knows? Maybe it's not just Zach Wilson because Aaron Rodgers apparently could be cleared for contact on Christmas Eve. I'm just saying, if the Jets win against the Dolphins this weekend, we could see Rodgers back on Christmas Eve. But anyway.
Rodgers didn't tear his Achilles, I'm convinced.
What do we think? Do we think either of these teams, buy, sell, or hold, are getting into the playoffs this year or are even going to be in contention in a couple weeks?
I'm gonna sell this take.
Shocking.
Honestly, it's not even that I don't like. I love bad teams performing great and making amazing upsets. It's just that there are 13 teams in the NFC right now that are in contention for the playoffs. I don't even know how many teams are 6 and 7, or 7 and 6, but I think there are a good 6 to 7 of them. And the Giants, I think the Giants have a pretty easy schedule. Actually, and never mind, they don't have an easy schedule.
No, they don't. They play the Eagles twice.
I think they could steal one from the Eagles.
No, they aren't.
They can steal one.
Okay, come on. Let's operate within the realm of reality, please.
The Eagles are looking very, very vulnerable right now, man.
Tommy DeVito is.
I don't think they're vulnerable.
This actually makes me lose brain cells, dude. With the way you talk about the Eagles and Dolphins.
I do think that the Jets are in a pretty good position too. I think that the Jets can pull off a win against the Dolphins. They can probably pull off a win against the Commanders. They might pull off a win against the Browns. But I think Bill Belichick in his final game as head coach for the New England Patriots is gonna shit on the Jets.
One final middle finger.
I wouldn't be surprised about that.
I'm just saying, if the Dolphins lose this weekend, book it. Aaron Rodgers is coming back against the Commanders.
Okay, can we, guys, seriously, can we stop with this like idiocy about the Dolphins? We're going to talk about the Dolphins in a second, but stop with the idiocy, okay? The Dolphins are not losing to the New York Jets. This Jets team is bad. Zach Wilson is not.
Their center is gone. Their center is gone.
Oh my God! So the entire team falls
Their
apart?
best offensive lineman is gone.
If Tyreek Hill is hurt, then count me in for if he's out, count me in for an upset alert.
What if he's limited?
If he's limited, then even still maybe count me in for an upset alert. But if Tyreek Hill is there and if he's at 75% strength, which I'm sure he will be with the way things are trending, this team isn't losing to the Jets, okay? The Jets are bad. Their offense is bad. Zach Wilson is bad. Don't let one game fool you. We've been here before. He had a good game against the Chiefs. Everyone thought he was him, and then he turned out to be bad. It might be the fact that his offensive line sucks and his weapons suck.
And his offense coordinator sucks.
Yes.
Yeah.
So maybe it's not completely Zach Wilson's fault, but generally this Jets offense is bad, okay? They're not going to get anything going against the Dolphins because Zach Wilson sucks, and this offense sucks, and the Dolphins will get enough on offense to win the game. As for the Giants, and you're not going to see Aaron Rodgers, so you can't.
Aaron Rodgers is coming back if they beat the Dolphins.
Okay, so keep having your wet dreams.
Yeah.
But the Giants, what are you talking? They're not losing. They're not beating the Eagles, okay? Tommy DeVito, let's not forget, Tommy DeVito got blowtorched by the Cowboys 3 weeks ago, okay? And then he got an easy game against the Commanders, easy game against the Patriots, in which he put up a shocking 10 points, and then a good game against the Packers, but this Packers team is just inconsistent. They're not being. I'm spending too much time on this. You just say stupid things about. I'm just
trying to drive the conversation.
You say stupid things about good teams and expect me to just go along with it. No, they're not beating the Eagles once or twice. They're losing both times. Corey and AJ, your team sucks. Get ready for Drake May or something. I don't know.
Shree? Oh, wait, you already went.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah,
okay.
We're both selling.
All right.
Wait. Yeah.
I'm going to sell on this as well, despite how fun this could be. But
sorry, I can't hear you guys. Can you speak a little louder?
Can you hear me? Hello?
Hello? Can you hear me, Shree?
No, I can't hear you.
What the fuck?
Hello? Can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay. Okay. All right, last one. This one should be fun. The final headline is Tua hot to handle. The Miami Dolphins lose their final 3 games of the season, and the Buffalo Bills win the AFC East. Buffalo is a game against the Cowboys this weekend. Buffalo then has games, I believe, against the Patriots. I'm forgetting their... They play the Patriots, they play the Dolphins in the final week, and they play the Chargers with Easton Stick on Christmas weekend. The Dolphins, however, like we said, have a game against the Jets this weekend and then face a gauntlet. They're playing the Cowboys, the Ravens, and the Bills.
Yeah.
Those final 3 games, they could lose all of them. So, what do you guys think? I'll go... I think this could happen. I'm going to buy this take. I think the Buffalo Bills are going to win this weekend. They're not going to lose again in this regular season. I think if they go into Miami with something to prove with their backs against the walls, I think Josh Allen's going to get it done. I think this Dolphins team is good. I believe in Mike McDaniel, but I think if Tyreek is a little bit limited and his defense can, be a little inconsistent sometimes, as we saw against the Titans, the Cowboys are a very good team. The Ravens are a very good team. And like I said, I think the Bills are going to get it done that final week. This is going to be a tough game, tough stretch for the Dolphins. We saw a similar stretch to this last year, granted without Tua, of course. But I think this is going to be a really tough stretch for them. What do you guys think, Shree?
I'm honestly going to buy this take as well. And it's not even that, I'm a Dolphins hater or anything. I just think that, even with Tyreek Hill, I think because it's a divisional matchup in Week 18, it's going to be hard against the Bills, especially with the Bills are playing with their backs against the wall. Against the Ravens, even with Tyreek Hill, the Ravens have one of the best defenses in the league. The Cowboys are looking honestly like a top 3 team right now in the league. So even in a shootout, genuinely, I like that Cowboys offense. I think for the Dolphins, like, if they don't have Tyreek Hill against the Jets, I'm a little worried. And I think that the Bills, like, if they beat the Chiefs with all that, and I think they can. I think this is possible. Like, I don't have a good reason. It's honestly just instinct. But I think the Dolphins team is more likely to choke than the Bills team not playing well with their backs against the wall.
Agreed.
You guys just, I actually despise you guys so much. You guys, I don't know what your anti-Dolphins propaganda is. You just say this shit just like stir up something. I don't know. To be like, oh, the Dolphins are actually bad. They suck. Just shut up, bro.
Wait,
like,
Rohan,
this is a team.
Let me quote you. Let me quote you from earlier this season. The Dolphins played great against mid teams, and they lose to good teams. That's something that you said.
You did say
word
that.
for word
I did say
earlier
that.
this
I did
season.
say that.
What
And they're
do
playing
they
three
have?
good teams
What
to
do
end the
they have?
season.
They're playing 3 good teams.
Okay, hold on a minute. I said the Dolphins beat teams that are worse than them, and they lose to teams that are good or equal to them. Okay? Now, first off, so then can we please this Jets argument is stupid. They're
Okay,
better
well,
than the
I'm
Jets.
saying the final three games.
Okay.
Yeah.
I can see losses to
final
the.
three.
I'm not gonna lie. I can see losses to the Cowboys and Ravens. But for the Bills to get in contention, that also requires them running the table up to that point. Tough game against the Cowboys coming up, which we're going to talk about.
Yeah.
I think it's very misguided to say the Bills can win the Cowboys game, but the Dolphins can't. I think that's very misguided. I think so. That's the first thing that you have to do. They have to run the table against all the other opponents, and then if they do that, and if Miami loses to the Ravens and the Cowboys, then you set up a date where winner takes all. Essentially, Bills at Dolphins in Miami in Week 18. And this Bills team is not the Bills team that ran over the Dolphins earlier in the year. Injuries have hit them hard, and it's shown in their defense. Dude, you can't.
Their defense
why are you shrugging? Why are you shrugging?
Because I think their defense is still pretty good.
Their defense looks substantially worse. The last time they played, they played solid against the Chiefs, but when they had the Eagles 2 weeks ago, not like this wasn't a turn ago, this was 2 weeks ago. Not only did they get run all over by the Eagles, but also Devontae Smith torched them, and A.J. Brown didn't have his best game, but he was good enough. He had 5 catches, 37 yards, and a touchdown. Go back to the Broncos game, where they lost on a last-second drive to Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson, 24 for 29, 193 yards and 2 touchdowns. Javonte Williams, 79 yards on the ground. Sutton had a good game, 8 catches for 53 yards and a touchdown. I mean, this defense, and now you're going up against a team that has arguably still, I think, the most high-powered offense in the NFL. These are not scrubs. I don't care. No, why are you shaking your head?
The Dolphins are not the most high-powered offense.
They're the number one team in passing yards, rushing yards, and total yards. They're not like us. They're not a bad team on offense. I don't get what you're talking about.
I'd say the Niners definitely have a better offense right now than the Dolphins.
Okay, at this point, I would say the Niners do, but the stats speak for themselves. This is a Dolphins team that consistently has put up 30 points a game against mediocre and some good defenses.
Okay,
they put up 70 points against an NFL defense. I don't care who it was. They put up 70 points against an NFL defense. Let's stop acting like this Dolphins team isn't good.
I will give you $100
Let's stop acting
if
like
they do that against the Broncos again.
What?
I'll give you $100 if they do that against the Broncos again.
Okay, obviously they wouldn't, but the fact they did that once tells you something.
I'm just saying that this Dolphins team has a consistent ability, as shown, that can really beat up on these bad teams, dropping 45 on the Commanders, 70 on the Broncos earlier this season. I mean, the list goes.
Here's my point. You need to stop acting like the Bills' defense. It's not that bad. But it's also not elite anymore.
Okay, but I trust Josh Allen in that spot.
Here's the thing. The Dolphins, more specifically, the Dolphins lose to teams with good defenses. The Chiefs have a very good defense. The Eagles, I would say at that point.
The Eagles have had a terrible passing defense since week 1. Mac Jones had his best game of the season in week 1 of the season.
The Eagles' run defense is very good, I think, still. The Eagles' game is still very good.
Yeah.
And the Bills, at this point, I think were an elite defense when they had Trey White, Matt Milano and Jordan Poyer. Did Poyer get injured?
No, I mean they're still there. It was Dwan Jones. Yeah.
So point is that put this Dolphins team against a team that's been repeatedly torched by outside threats. Put this Dolphins team against a team that doesn't have the interior defense to go up against their rushing attack, which is getting better with a chain back and most are playing well, and they're not going to lose with their backs against the wall at home. My point is, don't count out the Dolphins. Don't act like they aren't a top team still in this league because they had one bad game, okay? One bad game that they should have won, they lost. And I think a lot of teams on this list that you're talking about, a lot of teams that we have talked about, they have had those slip-ups and they've been afforded those slip-ups. And I don't know why the Dolphins don't get afforded the same thing when their best player goes down with injury, and then you say, no, this is a Dolphins team that chokes when it happened once all
I just
year.
think there's a worrying trend with the Dolphins we have seen this year. Like you said yourself and like Sheree said, that they falter against these physical, good teams.
It's not about physicality. I don't get why.
Because their offense is all built on speed and timing. And when Tua's timing is disrupted, it really harmed. We saw it against the Titans. When his timing was gone, he was not able to elevate this offense.
Because Tyreek was gone. By week 18, he'll be fine.
We'll see. Anyway, let's move on to our week 15.
We'll see.
I'm trying to move the show on.
I'm very obviously right in this case. You're just saying stuff. You're just saying stuff because
we
can't, it looks
we're
awful.
We're not here all day. We have to move on.
His best player is gone. Of course he's going to play
I'm just saying I trust Josh Allen in that spot. I trust Josh Allen in that spot more than I trust Tua when his back's against the ball.
Trust the league leader in interception in that spot. Go for it. Have fun with that.
Also the league leader in touchdowns.
Okay,
Let's move to Saturday night's game. The Denver Broncos at the Detroit Lions. Lions are favored by 4.5. This Lions team, as we talked about, has been faltering. This Denver team, 7-6. We're a long way away from their 1-5 start. Dropped, 70 points on them in week 3. I'm going to take the Broncos here against the spread. The Lions are favored by 4.5. I like this Lions team, but Denver, arguably Sean Payton has a case for Coach of the Year, the way he's turned this team around. This defense is leading the league in takeaways since their winning streak has started. Their defense is playing really well, also sacking the quarterback, putting pressure. That's what we've seen against Jared Goff and Fitz. Russell Wilson, he's been good, not amazing, but he's been good, and he's been playing efficient football. This running game is good. I trust the Broncos. They've got coaching experience. I think the Lions are going to keep this close, but I'll say the Broncos win 23-20.
Yeah, I agree. I'll take the Broncos here. Same reason that you said before. I just think that Russ is playing better right now in terms of the fact that he's doing what he needs to do and not more than that. And the rushing offense is looking good too. I'll take the Broncos here. Probably, I'll say 24-17.
Yeah. I just like the Broncos going into it versus the Lions. I think the momentum's going to carry it. I'll take the Broncos 27-17.
All right, next one. This is the big one for week 15. Historical rivalry between these two teams. A lot of bad blood, obviously. The Buffalo Bills and the Dallas Cowboys in Buffalo. Buffalo coming off that huge win on Kansas City. Cowboys, we haven't talked about them much this week on the show, but Dak Prescott's playing MVP football, the best football of his career, just getting a huge win over the Eagles to take the lead in the NFC East. This Cowboys team is ready to make some noise, I think, and this is the best the Cowboys have looked in a long time. Despite that, I like Buffalo here. I really do. I like Josh Allen, the way he's playing. I like what Joe Brady has done with this offense, getting James Cook involved. Stephon Diggs really hasn't made an impact in the past couple of weeks, and this team is still doing well on offense, and I expect them to come back into this game. This Cowboys team is going to be a force to be reckoned with. I expect to be high scoring, and I expect Josh Allen to have a great game as he did last week in Kansas City. I'll say the Bills win in a relative shootout, 34-31, with Josh Allen leading a game-winning drive. And I think Dak still has a great game, but we've seen this Cowboys defense against the Seahawks. Sometimes it can be a little inconsistent, and I think that could be the case this week as well.
This is just I just don't understand your argument sometimes. It's just like, I just feel like Josh Allen is like playing good right now, and I feel like he's better. So Josh Allen will win because Josh Allen this. Okay, I mean, let's look at the facts. Okay, facts don't care about your feelings.
Crazy thing to say.
Since the Eagles loss on about a month ago, the Cowboys have just about steamrolled every opponent. Granted, they haven't all been good opponents, but Giants beat them by 32, Panthers by 23. Commanders by 35. Close game against the Seahawks. And then I think the marquee win, obviously, is the Eagles beating them by 20 points. Every facet of this Cowboys team looks elite. Their defense, rushing defense, first of all, preeminently is elite. I mean, they held the Eagles. Granted, they get up to a quick lead, but they held DeAndre Swift to 39 rush yards. Overall, I don't think they hit 100 yards Maybe they just got over 100 yards, the Eagles did, against the Cowboys. And I think that speaks to a lot. The Seahawks, Charbonnet only got 60 yards against them and averaged 3.2 yards per carry. This rush defense is elite. So I think when you take that away from the Bills, it really puts the ball in Josh Allen's hands and Stephon Diggs' hands. And I think that is not a recipe for success when you have your corners in Stephon Gilmore and Deron Bland of the Cowboys. Granted, DK Metcalf had a great game a few weeks ago. I think that's an outlier. I don't think they'll let that happen again, especially with the way that Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs have not been on the same page recently. I know he lost me my playoff games, or the games leading up to the playoffs in my fantasy league. So I just think the Cowboys are playing better in every facet of the game. CeeDee Lamb and Dak look great right now. Tony Pollard looks great. And again, we've seen this Bills defense get beat by all-around good offenses. It happened against the Eagles. And I think that clearly the Cowboys offense right now is better than the Eagles. I mean, everything points towards the Cowboys, and your argument is Josh Allen's going to Josh Allen around and win a game. That doesn't make sense to me. It's at home. It's in Dallas. Buffalo hasn't played consistently all year. I don't know why this is the time that they're all of a sudden going to turn it around, turn up, and start winning games. Josh Allen, historically, is a good quarterback, but oftentimes he's not clutch. He makes dumb decisions in the clutch. We've seen it happen this year already. It's going to happen again, and I think the Cowboys win 30-20.
All right.
True.
I mean, everything that Rohan said, factually, it's true. But I don't think the NFL is really about facts. That's why upsets happen every single day, every single week. I think that's why the Bills are going to upset the Cowboys. I don't really have a good reason for you. Because, yeah, the Cowboys statistically, on paper, are better. Do I think that the Bills played an amazing game against the Chiefs? Yes. Do I think that the Bills did not rely on Stephon Diggs against the Chiefs and still pulled out a win? Yes. I don't care if the Dallas Cowboys have an amazing secondary. Because Josh Allen is just going to throw for 100 yards to Gabriel Davis, just like he did during the Eagles game. Yeah, they lost 37-34. But Josh Allen, the momentum is there. I don't know what to tell you. And that's what I'm going to go with.
Are we talking about momentum after winning one game? Is that momentum now?
For this offense, the momentum is ever since they made the switch from Ken Dorsey to Joe Brady.
The momentum isn't right.
This offense is taking on new life. It's been different. And Josh Allen's been playing amazing.
It's necessarily dependent on what happened with the Bills. It's dependent on their positioning in the playoff race. It's dependent on how other teams are looking, like the Dolphins. Everything is coming together at the same time. It's not just contingent on them winning one game. It's a lot of other factors, is what I'm trying to say.
Okay, listen, I want to believe in the Bills. I want them to be good, but I think, I just quite frankly think that, our discussions about momentum, our discussions about how good Josh Allen is, I don't know why it's been swayed so much, but it's been swayed a little too much. The pendulum is going a little too far in that direction. I think we've had these swings before. I mean, after the Jets lost in the beginning of the year, after the Patriots lost, or after the Jets lost, we thought Bills are bad. Then they beat the Dolphins, and we thought, oh, Bills are actually really good. Then they lost to the Patriots. Bills are bad again. And then we go and they say, oh, they played the Eagles close. They beat the Chiefs. They might be good again. No, this is just an inconsistent team. Inconsistent teams lose games like these, and they're going to lose, and then we're going to be back. The pendulum's going to swing all the way back, and we're looking at a 10-7 team at best, sneaking into the playoffs. And that's what this Bills team is this year, unfortunately.
Hey, not to go back to what we were talking about earlier, but if the Dolphins lose those last 3 games, the Bills don't have to win this game. It comes down to Week 18. If the Bills are sitting at 9-7, the Dolphins are sitting at 10-6. That could be the decider for the AFC East in Week 18. That'll be a fun one. Do we need to go through Ravens-Jags? I think we're all going to pick the Ravens.
Okay. I think we're good.
Okay. We also have a big game in Week 15, the Ravens and the Jags. I think all of us are picking Baltimore to win this game. I think Baltimore's the better team. Jaguars are okay. Baltimore is simply the better team and the top 3 team in the league right now, and arguably the best in the AFC. But I can't wait to see them lose in the playoffs.
They won't.
But
let's
that's it for today's episode. Thank you guys so much for joining us. We talked a lot about the Bills and the Dolphins today. Let us know below what you guys think in terms of which of these teams is going to win the AFC East and why Josh Allen is the better
I don't want to hear from Camille.
quarterback than Tua Tagovailoa, and the Bills might be better. We'll see. But make sure to check out our picks on our Instagram for Week 15 and all the other games we haven't had the chance to talk about. Make sure to also check out our power rankings on our Instagram as well. We had a lot of disagreement in them this week, including me putting the Bills in the top 5. I think it's going to be right by the end of the season. But thank you guys so much for listening. My name is Arjun Ryan.
I'm Shribam Kanda.
And I'm Rohan Patel.
And we'll see you next week in Week 16 on the turf.
Jesus.